So Halloween is over, finally. Now we just have to get through the rest of it. But something just, it's not heavy on my mind, but it just keeps coming up. So if in the man-made religion of Christianity, if we're not supposed to participate in rituals and whatever, blah, 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 how is it that covered by the blood of Jesus Christ isn't a ritual? How is that not a blood ritual? I can't fathom right now how that isn't a blood ritual. So hey, I'd love to hear more if anybody wants to elaborate on how that's not a blood ritual. Also, just for your self-healing journey, if you're interested, another thing that really was beneficial to me when I first started to really understand that I needed to do a lot of work if I didn't want this to be my life forever and have to come back to Earth School again, that, I needed to really take a hard look. So what I did was, first of all, not have money for intensive therapy, and even if I did, I don't recommend it because they're only going to tell you what the program wants you to know, not the truth. I also learned that the hard way, but that's a story for another time. So anyways, what I did was I would literally, I would have the craziest thoughts, and I'd be like, dude, why am I even thinking about this right now? Why did I react this way? Or why, I'm a why person, and that includes for myself. I feel like everybody should be a why person for yourself. Why are you not happy? Why does that trigger you? Why does that activate you? Why are you not happy, or whatever the case may be? So anyways, I go to Google and I would literally type in that exact thought, exactly how I heard it in my head. And it was pretty amazing what would come up. So I did this for months and months and months, and it got to the point where, I knew there was something that somewhat wasn't jiving, but I didn't know how to fix it, I'll say, which was really why I did reach out for help. And it's pretty funny because I went to Daymark, actually, because it was supposed to be a free thing or really cheaper. That was the only thing that Medicaid covered. I don't remember. I went to Daymark, okay? And the very first thing that the counselor therapist asked me was if I had ever been told about a specific mental illness, if that's what you want to call it, before, or if I'd ever been diagnosed with said mental illness, blah blah blah. And it was really, really eye-opening in that exact moment, because it was the same exact thing that I had already found. I already knew all of that about myself. So with that being said, I feel like that, that's a good start. That was a good start, clearly. And I didn't need somebody else who doesn't know me, who hasn't, experienced things that I've experienced, who isn't on my same journey, to try to tell me what I need or tell me how I feel or how I should feel about anything. Nobody has that right for anybody. Only you know how you feel. That's why it's important. Well, it was important and is important to me that we are able to heal the parts of us that respond from trauma. Because that is going to be the only way that we're all initially going to be able to come into one consciousness. And it sounds insane, and it is kind of insane for me right now because I don't know as much as I would like to know. And honestly, there's not a lot of like, there is a lot of research, but it's like a lot of different, like, a lot of different theories, and a lot of people feel differently. And it's like, you can read a theory from somebody, but then like, you find out they think the earth's flat or something, you know, and it's like, well, I don't know, you know. And I'm not judging, I'm definitely not judging, you know, people have a right to feel how they feel, I don't care, whatever. I don't think the earth is flat, but that's because nobody's proven it to be otherwise to me yet. I'm not saying I'm not open to it, I'm just saying that's not where I'm at right now, but there are people who are there, and that's fine. Like, there's something that's happened along the way that has convinced them that the earth is flat. That's okay. That's all right. It didn't convince me. It might not convince the neighbor, but it convinced them, and that's all that matters. So, you know, that's kind of a circle, going back into like the circle of, you kind of have to meet people where they are. You know, if you want somebody to really hear you and really feel you and take in what you're trying to teach them or what you're trying to show them, the most important thing is to meet them where they are. They will be so much more likely to respond and open up to you if they feel like you're not judging them because you might be on a little bit of a higher level than they are, or that they think they are. It's very sad, kinda, the way that, you know, society, like, we're programmed to just hate ourselves. Dude, I could never, like, hate myself. What's the point? Like, I'm already like, what is the point of Earth School? So what do I look like coming to Earth School, agreeing to come to Earth School, staying here the whole time, and hate myself while I'm here? That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So, just another way to put it, you're telling me we come to Earth School, we work for whatever 75 million years to make somebody else rich while we still struggle in the meantime, in between time, and then we just die, and I'm supposed to hate myself the whole time. If I were able to be programmed that way. On what wavelength, besides misery, floating on down there with Miseria, does that make sense? There's no timeline where that would make any type of sense. Regardless of what your beliefs are, you know, who you believe in, how you believe it, you know, what you think about creation and existence, just the factor alone that is what is supposed to happen, or what we're being programmed to happen, would make sense. Let's just start there. Question for the day. On what timeline in the universe does it make sense for us to be born, choose to come here, be born, grow up, work like modern day slaves to make somebody else rich, struggle the whole time, and then die? If anybody has a really great answer, please share it, because I'm trying to figure out where that makes sense. Because really, now that I'm like saying this out loud, and if you've made it this far, I'm sorry about the ramblings, but it's just kind of how it goes. It's how I process and, you know, just pick out the things that are important to what I'm already dealing with, or what I have dealt with that I'm still trying to figure out, okay? So thank you for listening if you're still here. And if you're not here, thanks for not listening. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I'm trying to help somebody, so here we are. But yeah, I think that's really, honestly, that's what really got me started. That's really what did it. Except for as a little girl, I didn't look at it as making somebody else rich. That's just kind of something that I've learned along the way. But when I was a little girl, I knew that we're not the only ones here. It doesn't even make sense to think that we're the only ones here. So mine started with the sun, and basically I would just talk to the sun. I would literally just lay in the grass and I would just stare at the sun and talk to it and be like, who lives there? Like, how do you get there? I was 3, and I would just watch how the clouds would I don't know, it's like they dance. And it's really cool if you just, sit still and just watch. And I think that's why a lot of people don't even see the changes that are happening in the sky, because they've never really taken the time to really even study it or even analyze it or appreciate it. Just to lay in the grass and just lay there for hours and watch the sky. I mean, there has to be a level of appreciation there, or you wouldn't do that. So, I don't know, maybe that's part of the programming too. That's another rabbit hole for another day, guys. But yeah, let's just see if we can put that question out there. Let's start send out the energy that, ask questions. It's okay to ask questions. It actually is okay to ask questions. The reason why and I say they, I don't know who they are, just whatever, just other people will say that. The reason why other people get so offended by somebody that asks them a lot of questions is, one, mainly, usually, is because they're lying. They're trying to hide something. Or 2, they know they're not in control of that situation. Because the person who's asking the questions, they're 99% of the time the person that's going to be in charge of that whole interaction. And you can either take that as a bad thing and abuse that power, or you can take it as a blessing and use it to empower that person that you're having the pleasure of even sharing that interaction with. I think once we understand how important energy is and how it works, that's when we'll change the world. And so I say that because let's send out the energy, that how